All right, guys, welcome back. Bear down, and my apologies for my delays and my absence. Horrible time to do it with the combine and everything going on, but it is a fun time of year for Bears fans. Except right now, it's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie that I haven't missed completely out. I've been on Twitter and I've been on some threads, and man, people sway and change so much. But I'm gonna focus on one huge thing today. Ryan Poles has not changed. He hasn't changed anything from the end of your press conference to now at the combine or anything in between. And he's only really spoken 2 times. Once at the end of your press conference, once at the combine. Well, multiple times at the combine and multiple interviews. But his theme is very much the same. But it's the talking heads out there that twist and change everything. We, the fans, don't have any clue what the reality is inside the war rooms, inside the big board rooms of all these individual teams. But we've talked about in a couple of the different videos, and the one I did just a couple days ago, about how teams like the Bears have their own setup. They have their own way of doing things, and it's not the same as what Mel Kiper Jr. or any of the other analysts have out here saying that 1 through 300 are going to be. Brad Spielberger and Ryan Poles don't talk on an intimate basis. It's not the way it works. So I thought I would do something different today, as I've been a little lacking on my presence lately. I'm going to take Ryan Poles' official interview where he stood up in front of everybody and he talked, and I'm going to dissect it because everyone has twisted and painted what's been said to their own agenda. But let's just listen to a little bit of what he said, because I get so many questions. The biggest ones, are you changing your mind now? Are the Bears trading Justin Fields? Look at Justin Fields' video where he's jumping in the air. And, did you see that the Jets are letting Zach Wilson request a trade? And has your mind changed now? Do you think the Bears are trading Justin Fields? Well, I'm going to take you through my official thoughts, because you can only go off of what Ryan Poles has said. You can't go off what all these talking heads are saying. They're here for your entertainment. They're here to try to sway decisions, to try to sway your decisions, to try to sway your opinion and make you think a certain way, because it gets them clicks. From day one, I haven't made this channel to get clicks. I've made it so we can have an authentic view, a different perspective, and a way to look at things that's genuine and authentic and not forced towards narratives or opinions. And so I want to do that today, because my opinion, if you've seen me in threads and on X, Twitter, if you've seen me in different places, it hasn't changed one bit. I genuinely and sincerely believe the Bears have never considered trading Justin Fields in this process since the end of year through the combine. Their value right now is trying to get the number 1 pick driven up. Well, a lot of people might wonder, and it's not talked about enough, why? Why do they need to drive that number 1 value pickup if Caleb Williams is so much better than Bryce Young? Well, number 1, last year they got so much value by trading down from 1 to 9. That's a lot more value in range of where you're trading. 1 to 2 isn't as much value. And yes, I agree, Caleb Williams is a better prospect than Bryce Young. But the Bears also have recency on all these other GMs and all these other owners' mind, where they see, wow, the Bears fleeced the Panthers last year. We don't want to get fleeced like they did. And so teams might not be coming as aggressively to the table and say, hey, we saw what you did last year to the Panthers. We don't want to be the suckers of the NFL this year. We need to be a lot more careful. And so part of that negotiating, I can tell you, Ryan Poles is a master negotiator. And I'll show that in one example through this interview. So let me hop into it. This is Ryan Poles talks on the official Bears sites, on everywhere. It's his official entrance to the combine. This is Ryan Poles. I'm not going to play the video because, guys, I got in trouble once for playing videos. And, I'm still fairly new to YouTube, so I don't know how it all works yet. I don't want to get in trouble for it. But I can play the audio. I know I have no issue playing the audio because that's just open. So I'm going to play some of this, and we're just going to react to it. We're going to react to what he says.
All right. How's everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
All right. So I'll jump right in, kind of update on topics that have happened since the last time I spoke. So first, I just want to congratulate all of our guys that got into the Hall of Fame. I know fans have been waiting, and they've been waiting for a long time. So I know the entire organization's really excited for them. Flu stated yesterday, excited about our coaching staff we put together moving forward.
Update on the offseason.
And the rest of the crew. We're in good hands. They're going to do a really good job.
We did. We
Coach
nailed
hit
the
on all the
offseason with
topics,
coaching.
teachers, communicators. Shane's got a really good feel for both the run and the pass game. Ability to adapt and adjust to the things that we're looking for. So we're really pumped about that. Cody and Eddie, I know we put out a piece on them, but just want to say thank you to them for what they've done for the Bears.
It's on roster.
We felt like it was the right time to give them an opportunity to go test the market, see what's out there for them. I wanted to do right by them and do it as early as possible.
Do
so
right by
put their
them?
plans in place.
Now that's been pounced down, and you'll see there's a difference in the way he says things. So let's focus on that here in a minute. We have to be very, very clean with what we say in here, because there is ways that Ryan Poles talks, and there's the ways he does things. It's clear and deliberate.
But really thankful for their leadership and everything they brought to the organization. Jalen Johnson, in the process of getting Jalen Johnson done, conversations are going well at this time. We feel like we've done a really good job kind of coming to the table strong, showing the respect that he's due just in terms of his production through his career, and really an emphasis on the turnovers that he created this past year. Our expectation is that's going to continue to go as he's with the Bears. When I say coming strong, it means cash flows are strong, guarantees are strong. The term is strong for him. Being hit with his age, there's a really good opportunity for him to go back to the market again and continue to earn money and play well, and hopefully that's with the Bears for a long period of time. So I'm excited about that.
All right. That is a masterclass in negotiations. That right there put the Bears in position to say, Jalen Johnson, we've come to the table. We've let the world know we've given you a strong offer. We have put out there something that's positive for you and positive for the Bears. Now it's in your corner. Now he has the leverage that if Jalen Johnson doesn't accept his offer, he can tag him and the world isn't going to be upset at him. He's negotiating right now, and he's saying, we've put something very strong out there, and now it's in your corner, Jalen Johnson. This isn't just an update. This is him letting Bears world know and putting the pressure on Jalen Johnson. That's masterclass negotiation while boasting Jalen Johnson, give him the happy feel-goods. That's negotiation right there. That's not just an update to fans. That's negotiation.
Those deals all the time. It takes two to tango, and you got to find a place that everyone feels comfortable with. So I feel really good about that situation.
Charlotte.
Now the hot topic, the first pick, quarterback situation. Contrary to reports out there, I have no master plan to present to everyone today. This is
Did he say he doesn't have a master plan? No, he said he doesn't have one to present to everybody today. He's not coming into the combine baseless, without plan. He has a plan. The Bears aren't just whimsically doing this thing and they don't know what they want to do. The Bears know we have a leader, we have a foundation. We'll get into that. But we don't have a plan to present to everybody because we still need to work our angles. It's very clear what he's saying.
Gather information, learn about the different players in the draft, listen to what opportunities could come up. And then at the end of the day,
he's not just talking about Justin Fields. He did say at the quarterback position, but he's talking about the entire combine. Learning what can come up. He's talking about trading that pick too.
we're going to make the best decision that we can for the Chicago Bears. It will not be based on fear of what could happen with this. And what
That's huge. And that's been overlooked by everyone. It will not be based on fear of what could happen with this, what could happen with that. He talked about the year-end presser, how he's been given the confidence to be able to take his shots. Okay, so what's the real fear here? What's the big thing everyone talks about? When they talk about Ryan Poles' job, what would his fears be? Everyone says he can extend his job by doing what? By trading Justin Fields and getting a new quarterback clock. My decision will not be based on fear that we won't miss out on Caleb Williams. That's the fear he's talking about. It won't be based on that. We're not going to base this off of fear of missing out on a player.
what could happen with that? We're going to put our information together and make the best decision, because at the end of the day, we'll always throw our decision making against kind of our core kind of deal, which is win championships and sustain success for a long period of time. There's a lot that goes into that.
A lot that goes into that. He's talked repeatedly in the past about brick by brick, sustained success, not just one player.
But we're excited to gather that information and create clarity as we go along. So,
What is your, if you decide to draft a quarterback, what is your motivation to trade Justin before free agency starts?
Okay, so a lot of things happen here. Look at the information Ryan Poles gives freely, and then look at the information. There's a difference in what he's responding and answering to and what he gives freely. Even, you'll see here the Pat Mahomes question. They bring up Pat Mahomes, not Ryan Poles. He doesn't bring up Pat Mahomes. All right.
Knowing that there might be a premium on that.
yeah, again, it just depends on what opportunities pop up. I will say this. I think you guys know me well enough now. If we go down that road, I want to do right by Justin as well. No one wants to live in gray. I know that's uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to be in that situation either. So we'll gather the information. We'll move as quickly as possible. We're not going to be in a rush and see what presents itself and what's best for the organization.
Did you talk to him? I know he made those comments last week about kind of living in limbo on this. Have you had conversations with him about where you guys are at right now in that process?
Yeah, so I've always felt, and I told him this after the season when we had our exit meetings, that transparency and communication is key in these moments, and I told him we will do that. So I've been in contact with his team and kind of let them know like what we're looking at, how things might play out. And that we'll continue to communicate as we.
Why isn't Justin Fields freaking out? Why isn't he jumping up and down and saying, "Let's go"? Why isn't he requesting a trade? Why haven't the Bears let him go get a trade like Jalen Johnson's team did? If they're seriously considering this, why haven't they let him seek the trade? Why isn't that the big news? Why is Zach Wilson seeking a trade and the Jets are allowing him to, but the Bears aren't? It's interesting the words that he chooses to say, that we've been in constant communication. We don't want him to live in the gray. That doesn't mean that he's in the gray right now. Like, everyone assumes so much because of what he said, and because what we don't know, we assume things. And yeah, I'm wearing my Justin Fields jersey. I'm going to T-minus 3 days, guys, until it's announced that we're trading the number 1 pick. So
move forward. Again, I understand how uncomfortable that is for him. But again, like I told him, and he understands. I think he said it the other day too. It's part of this business. It is a unique.
He said it the other day too. So think about the hypothetical conversation they had where he's comfortable. I mean, think about draft day where Brian Drew is downstairs chucking stuff out of his locker. He's, come down and let me do my job. Just let me do my job. I got to do my job. Justin Fields isn't throwing freakouts. He just offered this voluntary bit of information. Justin Fields says, I understand it's part of the business. So Ryan Poles has assured him, hey, dude, we got to get some things done. We've got to handle this the right way. It's going to be tough on you. I hate that you're in the gray, but it's part of the business. Justin Fields, yes, I understand it's part of the business. Thanks for communicating with me.
Unique situation. So, but yeah, I'll continue that communication with them.
Part of the evaluation process in Kansas City.
I mean, that's huge, guys. It's just huge. If you sit and dissect what Ryan Poles actually said, he has an MO. He does things in a methodical way. And I'm telling you right now, the reason the number 1 pick has not been traded is because teams saw the Panthers get fleeced last year, and the Bears don't want to trade down too far, and teams know that they might not want to trade down too far. So this might end up being a situation where the Bears have to take one next year's 2 and one of this year's seconds from the Commanders, a lighter haul instead of a next year's first. That might be what ends up happening because they're just not getting the value. A team doesn't want to get fleeced, but they don't want to take Caleb Williams.
In 2017 was Mahomes. How is that experience?
They're asking about Mahomes.
The way you go about
Poles is not offering this information. Watch his answer.
Yeah, my background is I'm really fortunate to kind of see multiple phases and different types of processes put in place with bringing a quarterback in from a trade to drafting. So again, there's a process that we've learned in terms of tape watching and getting to know guys and bringing them in and spending time with them to feel comfortable with that setup. So I can definitely tap into that experience.
Right. In terms of Jalen Johnson, you said things are going well with him. Do you think it's more likely that there is a long-term deal with him than the franchise tag?
I hope so. I'd like to avoid the franchise tag. for him. I think there's
Even
a
that
really
right there,
good
he's
space,
putting pressure
for
back
us
on
to
Jalen
find
in
the
a
middle ground.
respectful,
Again,
charismatic way. He even
Hi,
goes
my
into
name is
a
Michael B.
burner.
Jordan, and
we always have the tag to use, but I really would like to get something done long term.
He goes into a
Ryan,
further in other interviews.
philosophically, how do you view the draft assets you have picking first and 9? You would theoretically be targeting star players if you kept those picks,
Yep.
versus converting those into more picks, but they are lesser picks.
Yeah, that goes into the equation, right? I mean, you got to look at what's there in terms of drafting. Again, you got to look.
All right, first and 9th pick. You got to look what's there in terms of drafting. This is this is him not tipping his hand, but giving us gold. Listen to this.
Listen to the trade. Like, you don't trade back 1, trade back 2, trade back 15. Like, that changes the dynamic based on where the board is set up. I think I talked about that last year. We'll end up counting the guys in certain spaces that we feel like can be impact players for our team. So that goes in the equation as well. But I think it's a really good opportunity to improve our football team. And the other thing is, like, we're open and understand that draft picks are just opportunity, right? You got to capture that. You got to be right with your draft picks. So we understand that as well.
All right. So going back 1, going back 2, going back 15, like, they know who they want right now. They know where their draft board is set up and what players they want to take. They don't want to miss out on the ones they want, so they don't want to trade back too far. But understanding, draft picks are just opportunities. So he's voluntarily said, this is what we can do if we can trade back. This is the excitement. Guys, I hope this is a little bit helpful. This is, as I dissect these things, I literally watched this video. I hadn't watched it this morning. I just decided to do this morning. I've watched this video like 15 times, and I've watched his other interviews like 15 times. There's so much you can pick up by weeding out the media garbage and just listening to him. Just listening to what he has to say about this team and the rebuild and Kevin Warren and Matt Eberflus. And it's the media, it's the talking heads that are twisting things and saying, well, Matt Eberflus said Justin Fields isn't a winner in the fourth quarter. That's not true. He knows what part is the coaching. He knows what part is on Justin Fields and what part is on the line, letting people through and wide receivers not being there and being available and open. Like, they know this rebuild and where this team is.
Just on the process of evaluating the quarterbacks, obviously at the top of the draft, there have been a lot of misses at quarterback position. What have you maybe learned about what goes into making a player, a great quarterback at the next level?
Yeah, there's a lot there, right? It's like, what's the infrastructure look like? What's around the player? I think that's key, and I think that's probably messed with the numbers a lot when you're talking.
How are we all overlooking this? Talking about quarterbacks at the top of the draft and looking at the infrastructure, looking what's around them and how that messes with the numbers. What's the biggest thing you hear out there on Twitter and all this other garbage that's going on? Things that I've shown on my channel where Justin Fields is actually improving in the top of certain categories that are advanced metrics. But when you look at your basic stat sheet, when you look at things that fans are looking at and saying, oh, this, Justin Fields last. Well, sacks will look the highest if you don't look at net zero sacks. And if you don't look at his escapability and how he's only behind Mahomes on creating plays outside of escaping sacks. Like, what he's saying right now is gold.
Talking about the top of the draft, I think that's what makes our situation unique and why we have to really do a deep dive into it.
Who's he talking about with this being unique? Our situation is unique because those players at the top of the draft, Justin Fields, it can be skewed because the infrastructure, what's been around him, and the stats don't tell the whole picture. That is literally verbatim what he's saying right now in this press conference.
I think the person is a huge part. I've talked about that a lot. What's the makeup, the leadership? How do they handle pressure? How do they handle pressure in a big city like ours?
Who's he talking about? That's 100% Justin Fields. Now, is he saying Caleb Williams can't do that? Nope. He's not saying that one bit. That's also the other side of this narrative that has done that. He has not addressed Caleb Williams cries into his mommy's bosom. He has not addressed Caleb Williams left his teammates to go be with his mommy when they lost a big game. He didn't say that. That's me and the talking heads and the other people with those things. And yeah, I get too emotionally into it sometimes, but he's not saying that. Ryan Poles is not saying that right now. He's talking about Justin Fields and saying, I do know we have a leader right now that can handle the city of Chicago.
So a lot of those factors go in.
Ryan, I know you said you weren't going to make a big reveal today in terms of what you're doing.
I have nothing to reveal at all.
No, I totally.
I wish I did.
Yeah, I know. That's what I wait. Yeah,
It's not ready.
I totally understand that, But do you have an idea, like what's the percentage of what you think you know right now ahead of the combine? Like, how important is the combine in making the decision?
Teams know what they're
Right
doing
now,
when
it's
they go
like
to the combine.
100 different
What a dumb
scenarios
question.
that you go down and try to plot out, and you're forecasting forward to see what's going to work out and probabilities and things like that. But at the end of the day, the human being part, getting to know someone, getting to know a group of people is really going to determine that there's going to be options that pop up.
That's what we talked about coming into this. In the other video, this is not about the 40 times. This is not about players jumping draft boards. This is about the medicals. It's about the interviews, and it's about rubbing shoulders with other GMs to trade pick.
All the time that you don't see coming. I think I said it last year. Like, something will happen at some point in the next few months that no one expects.
Right.
So you got to be on your toes for that. So the picture will change as we go.
If you trade the number
different
one,
mindset this year with the number 1 overall picks and what you had last year at the time?
Is the mindset different this year than what it was last year with the number 1 overall pick?
No, I mean, it's unique,
Sorry, sometimes I have to pause it when an ad pops up.
right? But I would say our approach is exactly the same in terms of we got to look at every option and determine what is best for our team. Obviously,
Our approach is exactly the same. We have to look at every option, what's best for our team. They've already laid out what's best for the team. They've already done that part. They're not going to announce it here because they have to drive up the value of that number 1 pick. They need someone to call them and say, hey, look, you're waffling. We want that number 1 pick. This is what we're going to give you. And now there might be a great offer that's coming in right now, but this is where that's happening. This is where those teams are saying, look, Caleb Williams is saying all the right things about the Bears. He's saying all the right things PR-wise. We like him. Josh Harris is sitting in all those interviews with Cliff Kingsbury and Adam Peters and the Commanders, and he's sitting in there and he's saying, I really like this Caleb kid. We talked about him before we came in here. He's really growing on me, guys. He ends up being 6 foot and 1/4 of an inch. He's over 6 foot 1 and 1/4 of an inch. He's over 6'1". Well, we got to do this. We got to get this done. Let's go ahead and pull the trigger. I'm willing to give that next year's first. I mean, that's the type of stuff that's happening right now with what's going on.
we chose to trade back last year, and I think that helped our team out a lot. So again, we'll do a deep dive and see how it plays out.
After evaluating the podcast, if we can gather information, do you have any concern at all that Caleb Williams or the team around him don't want to play in Chicago?
No,
Nor
concern
should
about
he.
that at all. I would love to know why, if that was the case. Like I said, I think as a young quarterback.
Now, that's a PR move, too. You guys have to realize he's coming into the combine. Why do you think Caleb Williams did part of what he did? He listened to what Ryan Poles did. Right here, he said, anybody would be stupid not to come to Chicago. And that's going to give Caleb Williams an opportunity to say, I love Chicago, which he did. He fed right into Ryan Poles' hand, and it drives up the value of the number one pick. Caleb Williams would be an absolute idiot at this point if he did say anything other than, dude, I would love to play in Chicago. And that's exactly what they've done here.
And I've been around it. The infrastructure is important, and I think we've made really good progress in terms of having really good infrastructure for whoever were to come in, or if Justin were to stay here as well.
In terms of your quarterback evaluation when you were in Kansas City, Cliff Kingsbury said that Patrick Mahomes and Caleb Williams are eerily similar. When you watch the tape, do you see that?
Okay, so here's the Pat Mahomes question. He didn't get volunteered. He didn't volunteer this answer. Now watch how PR he is about it, about not comparing Caleb Williams to Pat Mahomes. And I'm going to say this. If the Bears really were considering drafting Caleb Williams, don't you think we would have hired Cliff Kingsbury? Don't you think that would have happened? Now, we've overlooked that as we've gotten into the combine now. But the reality is, why did we hire Shane Waldron? And that should be blatantly obvious. That was to work with Justin Fields, with Tyson Bagent, and with a potential third stringer or rookie we pick in a late round. Like, to me, that's super obvious with the work he's done with Geno Smith, why we hired him over Cliff Kingsbury. But that's just me. But here's the answer about Caleb Williams and Pat Mahomes.
There's pieces. There's pieces that are similar.
That's not gushing about him being the
same. The one that
same.
stands out to everyone is just different arm angles. That's a unique trait. Not a lot of guys can do that. I'll give Jeff King. Now,
he was part of the team that drafted Pat Mahomes. And he's saying, there's pieces. There's pieces. He wasn't gushing over him. Dude, I don't know how much more clear that gets that he doesn't view him the same that Pat Mahomes. He views the arm angle.
He's on my team credit. He painted a picture of, there's two types of quarterbacks. There's artists and then there's surgeons.
Jeff King is part of the team that found Tyson Bagent, by the way, as an undrafted free agent. Jeff King has extreme clout with quarterback work and scouting quarterbacks. So he pointed out there's two types of quarterbacks. There's artists and there's surgeons.
So within that group, you can kind of see who's the artist that's really creative.
Now, listen to who he's talking about. Is he talking about Caleb Williams? Yes. But then look at how he gives an opportunity to give a little props to Justin Fields.
It doesn't draw within the lines where there's more of surgeons who are, like your typical, like the Bradys and Paytons. So you kind of branch them out on those buckets and go from there. So that's where they're similar.
Is there a percentage you prefer with artists and surgeons?
No. Winners. Yes.
Now, the media, the talking heads will say, well, Justin Fields isn't a winner. We want winners. What's Caleb Williams in college? Are we talking about Caleb Williams here? Because in college, he wasn't even a winner. He never went to a major bowl game. He went 7-5 this last year, and his backup played better than he ever played all year against a top 20 defense. He's not talking about Caleb Williams here. He likes winners. And all year and in the press conference, he talked about how Justin Fields is a winner. He's got a mindset and a mentality to be a foundation. Those are words that he's used.
If you do move off the number one pick, we've heard crazy, we've heard historic, all those adjectives used for the amount of compensation you'd need. What are you looking for?
Yeah, it's hard to say right now, but it's.
Why is it hard to say right now? Because he doesn't have an offer for the number one pick yet. That's why he's here driving up the value. What are we looking for? Teams, make your offers. I'm ready. I don't know what we're looking for yet. Go ahead and submit an offer. That's what this week is for.
It's got to help our organization significantly to move around.
To move around?
We saw what it did last year.
How much more can you tip your hand about what you want? It's got to help our team significantly to move around. Right now we have the 1, 9, and 73rd, 75th overall pick. There's a lot of gap room in a very stacked class. We need some help moving around. It's got to help our organization significantly. We know what we want in certain positions and where we want to draft guys. We've got guy A, B, C, D, and E, and we've only got picks A, B, and E. How are we going to get C and D? It's got to help our organization significantly. We have 9 holes to fill. We're only going to fill 3 of those in free agency with major pieces. We only have 3 top first day 2 picks, so 2 in the first round and 1 in the third round. We need a couple more. It's got to help our organization significantly.
And I'm looking for that type of return to continue to improve our football.
I'm looking for that kind of return to significantly improve our football team. I don't know how that's... Guys, you just have to listen to what he's saying. All right, this is dragging on longer than I meant for it to, so I'm going to cut it off here. There's only a couple minutes left in the interview, but there is nothing more clear that I can tell you except the Bears have never wanted to draft Caleb Williams. They have their quarterback in Justin Fields. I 100% adamantly and firmly believe that, and I believe that's what's going to happen. You just have to push the talking heads out right now because this man is going to work. He's putting a master class on how to negotiate because that's one of his primary roles as a GM, a negotiator. He's negotiating contracts with players. He's negotiating players' feelings and emotions. He's negotiating with Justin Fields. Hey, look, dude, we want to give you more time. We've been building this thing for you. We've been building it because we believe in you. There's no place that Ryan Poles has ever said, I have to draft my guy. Like, that's something that all these analysts and people say is something a GM requires. But I'm going to tell you, there's a lot to dissect about Draft Day, the movie, that's absolutely ridiculous. As far as accuracy, it's way off base. The trades, everything that happens, they're not going into that day, not knowing what they're doing. It's stupid. But there is some accuracy and some different points that can be taken from it as far as how a GM has to manage and balance so many different things. Ryan Poles, hey, Justin, we're going to get this thing done, dude. We've been building this for you, with you. We see you as a corner piece here. We want to give you a fair shot. You haven't gotten it all done. Another thing that he says repeatedly is, well, not repeatedly, but one of the big emphases in a different interview that he has on here is This is a deep tackle class. Well, what does that mean to me when I see that? Well, that means we could realistically be taking Joe Alt at number 9 if he's there, but he said deep. One of the players I keep pointing out is Patrick Paul. He might be saying, hey, we want somebody's 40th pick, 40th to 45th pick so we can get Patrick Paul. Because we see him going somewhere in the 50s. We want to snag him before anybody else does, or even higher. Or he might be saying, we want Dominic Pooney in the 4th round, so we need to get an extra pick there too. Like, there's so many ways to take what he's saying, but you have to listen to what he's actually saying. I want to see if there's anything else that I missed that a lot of people are asking questions on. The biggest thing was the misconceptions and the lies out there. Guys, the media actually puts things out there that are flat out lies. And you just have to swerve through those. Until you see an official report breaking news that something's done, it's not done. The Bears have not traded anything to Atlanta. The Bears have not, or Justin Fields' agent has not released a 2-year-old video of him hyping up high school football players on a kickoff to be Justin Fields saying, let's go home. He's saying, let's go, jumping up like they do. There's so much misinformation. Just sort through it. Listen to what Ryan Poles has to say, because there really is truth in his own words, not what the media says he's saying, not what the narratives are saying, because they are trying to push their ratings. They're trying to push clicks. And this is by far the biggest story of the offseason. And if they're going to capitalize on it, they're going to twist and play and angle. I'm not going to do that, not one time on here. I'm going to stick firm to what I really believe and what the truth is, and I'm going to give that to you. I'm not going to sit here and pander for angles and flip-flop and, well, what if the Bears are trading? I don't see it. I've 100% shown you Justin Fields is staying in Chicago. He is the quarterback for at least 2024. It's my speculation about putting a 3rd-year option on the deal. It's my speculation about picking the 5th-year option up. It's my speculation about how much more time he has. No, I don't think he's proven. No, I don't think he's earned a long-term contract. But I don't think by any means he's going anywhere for his 4th year. And I do think they pick up the 5th-year option. Absolutely. So those are my thoughts. It's gone a little longer than I expected it to, and I wanted it to. I apologize, but hopefully there's something you got out of this, because it's just the way that I view and analyze these things. I didn't pre-script this. I wanted to give it authentic as I go through the video and watch it, so you guys can see, as I'm watching this, what does Adam really see? This is what I see, and there's still minutes left on this. I would go longer, but I don't want it to drag out for you guys. There's nothing at the end that he says that is crazy about trading Justin Fields. So if you want to check out his interview again, watch what he has to say. Don't watch all these talking heads, because they don't know bupkis. They're not sitting in there with Ryan Poles. But Ryan Poles just told you, we've communicated with Justin Fields. This is a process. This is what we want to get out of the first pick so that we can build more value for the rest of the draft. This is what we know we need. We need to go here, here, and here. This is what we need. We're trying to build that value. So that's what we're going to do in this process. We don't know what's out there, but we want it. The reason they haven't got it yet has nothing to do with nobody wanting to trade for Justin Fields. They can put their feelers out there all they want. And that's apparently what they've done. Teams have said, hey, what do you want for Justin Fields? Well, we really don't want to trade him. But if we were to move off of him, it would take a lot more than what you're probably planning to give him. The reality is we want to trade that number 1 pick. What do you want to give for that? Okay, let's talk. Let's go out to dinner. Let's do these different things. That's what the combine is. So, all right, guys. Hopefully I can get back to my routine of making some more content. I do apologize. I've been down. We're going to get back to it, I promise. Until next time, I might not be with you until the end of the combine, but until next time, continue to bear down, because it's bear down season. All right.